Joining us now to analyze today's headlines is Rahul Mahajan. He's a sociologist and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power in Iraq and Beyond. Hi, Rahul.
Hi, Sonali.
Well, Jordan has launched a third day of airstrikes against Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria today. The strikes carried out in conjunction with the United Arab Emirates and the U.S. are apparently in response to the shocking videotaped killing of a Jordanian pilot by ISIS. Britain has also stepped up its part in the fight, announcing today that it would send 2,000 special troops and a spy aircraft to aid Jordan. ISIS militants have claimed that their last remaining U.S. captive, Kayla Mueller, was killed by Jordanian airstrikes. Mueller's parents say they're hopeful that their daughter is still alive. She was captured in 2013 after she traveled to the area as an aid worker for Syrian refugees. Here in the United States, right-wing pundits and commentators are up in arms over President Obama's recent comments comparing the actions of ISIS to Christians during the Crusades. Well, Rahul, what impact can these stepped-up actions by Jordan actually have on ISIS?
Well, my first reaction is that if you think purely militarily, Jordan's actions are actually not incredibly significant. I mean, we've seen certainly a much greater volume and duration of airstrikes from the United States already, so this is just adding a small drop in that bucket in that sense, and seems to be, heavily focused around retaliation for the killing of this one hostage. But I think if you think about it in terms of the sort of ideological struggle that is being waged at the same time, it's significantly more important. I think that, it's important to note that there was, a certain amount of soft sympathy for certain jihadi groups, including some for Al-Qaeda, that was strongly affected by the attacks in Saudi Arabia in 2004, 2005, particularly. That turned a lot of people against them. In Jordan, a lot of people were turned against Zarqawi and the sort of precursor of the current Islamic State because of attacks in Jordan. So once again, we see, I think that it certainly can't hurt regionally the sort of struggle against ISIS to see a new player come in on the other side.
Here in the United States, contradicting the overwhelming legal trend to sanction gay marriage, Alabama's Chief Supreme Court Justice Roy Moore issued a letter late yesterday ordering officials to deny marriage licenses to LGBT couples. Today was expected to be the first day in Alabama that couples could legally marry regardless of sexual orientation. A state constitutional amendment banning gay marriage had been struck down by a federal judge in January, and that ruling was placed on hold until today, allowing the U.S. Supreme Court time to intervene, which it did not. Although the final decision over gay marriage in Alabama lies in the hands of 68 probate judges in the state, Justice Moore's strongly worded letter could carry weight with some, but 3 judges, in an act of protest, have announced they will not issue any marriage licenses at all to LGBT or heterosexual couples. Rahul, can a single Chief Justice at a state level really stop the movement to legalize marriage?
Well, I think that already Moore's, at least his most recent attempt, is being overcome, and as far as I can tell, they're actually proceeding with same-sex marriages in Alabama right now. So I think the answer is in the short term, no, and in the long term, again, no. I think all he can do is put up some sort of rearguard action at best.
Finally, the annual Grammy Music Awards took place last night with more than 3 hours of performances, awards, and even some political activism. After a videotaped message from President Obama about ending rape and sexual violence, 27-year-old Brooke Axtell, the survivor of horrific sexual abuse, spoke briefly about her experience and the importance of speaking out. A number of African-American artists used their platform to say that Black Lives Matter, including Beyoncé, Pharrell Williams, and Prince. And members of a newly formed group called Creators Alliance took aim at online music streaming services to call for fair pay for musicians. Now, Rahul, it seemed as though the Grammys were more unabashedly political than the Oscars. What did you make of the various political statements?
Well, first I would say that the one that sort of had the most official sort of backing in the Grammys, the one about rape and sexual violence, I don't see that as a sign of politicization of the Grammys in particular. I think it's much more in the nature of a PSA. In general, child rape and sex trafficking have been considered non-controversial bipartisan issues. There's been a lot of disagreement on details of how to deal with them, but in general, I mean, even part of Bush's famous 2002 national security strategy mentioned cracking down on sex trafficking as one of the key elements of American national security. I mean, it's a testament to the craziness of some people on the far right, intellectuals and politicians, that people are even thinking of this as a controversial issue. The Black Lives Matter in particular, that one is important. I think it says much more about Black Lives Matter and the emerging anti-police brutality movement than it does about the Grammys specifically. I think it's going to become a sort of cultural fixture. We're going to see a lot more of it, and it's going to continue because unlike with wars, apparently, this one can keep on going, because every time now that a black person is killed by the police, it's a new event that will give strength to the movement.
Rahul, always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Rahul Mahajan is a sociologist and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power in Iraq and Beyond. This is Uprising. We'll be right back.